welcome to the visual compendium of activities in the Nigerian maritime industry. I am Frank Edo, and this is NIMASA this week. Congratulations to all of you that made it to the last month of 2019. It's an achievement. Now, speaking about achievements, we're developing a series of highlights of the wonderful events that took place during the year in the maritime industry. So we're going to do highlights of such events for the month of December. It's going to be a wonderful time out. Also, there's a little matter of the International Maritime Organization's General Assembly elections. Nigeria participated. We're going to tell you what happened at the elections. These and many more are coming up on NIMASA this week. Now let's talk about the elections conducted last week at the IMO headquarters in London into the General Assembly of the IMO. 174 member states and 3 associate members were in attendance, and it was an election to conduct appointments into the various categories of the IMO. The Nigerian delegation was led by our Minister of State for Transportation, distinguished Senator Gbemisola Saraki, as those elections were conducted. Nigeria was a part of it.
The Assembly of the International Maritime Organization, IMO, has elected the following states to be members of its council for the 2020-2021 biennium. Category A, which are the 10 states with the largest interest in providing international shipping services. Countries in this category are China, Greece, Italy, Japan, Norway, Panama, Republic of Korea, Russian Federation, United Kingdom, United States. In Category B, Sweden was the major loser as it lost out on her bid to retain her seat. The 10 states with the largest interest in international seaborne trade elected are Argentina, Australia, Brazil, Canada, France, Germany, India, the Netherlands, Spain, and the United Arab Emirates. Meanwhile, Africa was the major loser in Category C. West Africa lost her only seat as Bahamas, Belgium, Chile, Cyprus, Denmark, Egypt, Indonesia, Jamaica, Kenya, Kuwait, Malaysia, Malta, Mexico, Morocco, Peru, the Philippines, Singapore, South Africa, Thailand, and Turkey were elected into the council. These 20 states have special interest in maritime transport or navigation, and whose election to the council will ensure the representation of all major geographic areas of the world. All 174 member states and 3 associate members attended the assembly. Nigeria got 110 votes, losing out in her bid to return to council by just a single vote. The IMO Council is the executive organ of IMO and is responsible for supervising the work of the organization between sessions of the Assembly. The Council performs all the functions of the Assembly except that of making recommendations to government on maritime safety and pollution prevention.
Introducing the new face of the Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency, NIMASA. We are charting the direction for a maritime and regulating the industry for a better, bigger, and more economically stable Nigeria. Evolved to serve you better. We are NIMASA. New face, rejuvenated service. NIMASA. Changing the tides in your favor.
President Muhammadu Buhari says leaders of countries in the Gulf of Guinea would work together and provide all necessary assistance to secure the Gulf of Guinea. The president gave the assurance at a bilateral meeting with President Theodoro Obiang Nguema Mbasogo of the Equatorial Guinea on the sidelines of the 2019 gas summit. President Buhari expressed concern over the rate of illegal activities in the Gulf of Guinea and called for more concerted efforts to end the tide. Our neighborhood is very strong. Our Navy is doing a good job. We are going to give them equipment and make them more competent. We will secure the Gulf absolutely, the president said. Nigeria and Equatorial Guinea have agreed to provide joint patrols in the maritime domain. This is in tandem with the agreements reached at the just concluded Global Maritime Security Conference, which held in Abuja, Nigeria.
The Gulf of Guinea serves as key navigational routes for international commerce, connecting the Far East to countries at the north and south of the Atlantic.
Some years ago, the proposal of a global maritime security conference here in Abuja would have been regarded as wishful thinking. The Nigerian government, its administrations, and its navy have risen to the challenge. They have made the wish come true, and for this we are grateful. Maritime insecurity is a major challenge in the Gulf of Guinea. It raises costs, hampers trade, reduces growth, and makes us all poorer. We trust that we have all the elements that we need to tackle these challenges, to start translating our ideas and words into actions. And with the close cooperation with EU member states deeply involved in maritime security, we have the political and diplomatic will to support where needed to make this work.
The Gulf of Guinea, a strategic maritime lane, strategic maritime route, our local economies of most of the African countries, and indeed Europe. This is the route of exchange, of maritime activities, of awareness of our maritime domain. 5,000 barrels a day is produced within the Gulf of Guinea. It's about 6,000 miles coastline. And all we have gathered the world to discuss the safety and security along this important body of waters.
Let's join hands to manage and secure our waters. All right, let's talk about the report by Singapore-based International Maritime Bureau. Well, that report says that Nigerian waters are becoming safer. As a matter of fact, that there's a steady decline of piracy on Nigerian waters this year. If the proposals of the Global Maritime Security Conference recently held in Abuja are anything to go by, surely we'll know that the year 2020 holds better safety of Nigerian waters in the maritime industry. The International Maritime Bureau, IMB, has reported a drop in piracy attacks in Nigeria in the third quarter of 2019. IMB said in its latest report, Nigeria has reduced piracy attacks from 41 in 2018 to 29 in 2019, which represents nearly 30% year-on-year reduction. The IMB commended the Nigerian Navy and NIMASA for collaborations, which has led to quick response to challenges of insecurity on Nigerian waters. The piracy reporting body also said there was a decrease in global piracy incidents during the first 9 months of 2019 compared with the corresponding period in 2018 in a fall to a 5-year low. Director of IMB, a specialized division of the International Chamber of Commerce, ICC, Potengal Mukundan, said 119 incidents have been reported to the IMB Piracy Reporting Center in 2019 compared to 156 incidents for the same period in 2018. Overall, the 2019 incidents include 95 vessels boarded, 10 vessels fired upon, 10 attempted attacks, and 4 vessels hijacked. The number of crew taken hostage through the first 9 months has declined from 112 in 2018 to 49 in 2019. However, according to IMB, piracy and armed robbery attacks remain a challenge at the Gulf of Guinea. The decline in piracy and armed robbery attacks on vessels came as the Deep Blue Project, Nigeria's integrated security and waterways protection infrastructure, began to yield results. It involves the training of field and technical operatives drawn from the various arms of the security services and NIMASA, as well as acquisition of assets to combat maritime crime, such as fast intervention, vessel surveillance, aircraft, and other facilities, and establishment of a command and control center for data collection and information sharing to aid targeted enforcement. The Deep Blue Project aims at building a formidable integrated surveillance and security architecture that will broadly combat maritime crime and criminalities in Nigeria's waterways up to the Gulf of Guinea. The timing of the IMB report also coincides with the conclusion of the Global Maritime Security Conference, GMSC 2019, hosted by Nigeria and coordinated by the Federal Ministry of Transportation and NIMASA under the theme, Managing and Securing Our Waters.
Going forward, the things we intend to do is to empanel the expert working group that will follow through with the African Union, with the IMO, with the United Nations, with ECOWAS and ECAS and other multilateral agencies to ensure full implementation of the resolutions. The other thing we intend to do is that by the next 2 years, we'll reconvene another Global Maritime Security Conference to look at how far we've progressed in course of that. A number of countries have leveraged on the Global Maritime Security Conference already. The Friends of the Gulf of Guinea, which is set up by the European Union, recently met in Accra, and most of the speakers, speaker after speaker, made reference to the Global Maritime Security Conference as a good effort initiated by Africans that need to be supported by the whole world. Portugal is setting up an Atlantic defense center dedicated to working across the Atlantic, north-south, with special focus on the Gulf of Guinea, on how to address the security challenge in the waters around the world. But like I said, with special emphasis on the Gulf of Guinea. They want to look at the various doctrines of the navies of various jurisdictions. They want to look at the causative factors, the linkage between the threats in the Gulf of Guinea and shipping in other parts of the world. That effort is also going on. The most important thing is that the Global Maritime Security Conference has indeed catalyzed a lot of actions in other parts of the world, bringing the attention of the world and the need, not just the attention, and the need for everybody to collaborate to deal with the challenge of insecurity in the Gulf of Guinea. It became clear that Gulf of Guinea is critical, and if we're going to have a continuous flow of energy resource coming from that region, Gulf of Guinea is important as a critical shipping lane. Gulf of Guinea is also strategic in terms of supply of stock and fish protein to the whole world. So the world is now focusing on the Gulf of Guinea just because of that single effort.
Introducing the new face of the Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency, NIMASA. We are charting the direction for a maritime and regulating the industry for a better, bigger, and more economically stable Nigeria. Evolved to serve you better. We are NIMASA. New face, rejuvenated service. NIMASA, changing the tides in your favor.
We promised you that we will give you highlights of the wonderful events that take place in the maritime industry throughout the year. Now, sometime in January, if you cast your minds back, you'll remember a brilliant idea brought up by the management of NIMASA, the Maritime Industry Forecast, which is simply a document, an investment guide for investors in the maritime industry. Wonderful. It was launched in January, and it's been taking the maritime industry by storm. Let's refresh your memories, shall we? When in 2018, NIMASA introduced an industry forecast for the Nigerian maritime sector, little did stakeholders realize that the act of use of forecast to guide investors in the sector has come to stay. So, when stakeholders converged in Lagos for the 2019-2020 presentation of the industry forecast by NIMASA, it became clear that statisticians now have verifiable data from the industry to guide them. The forecast, the second in the series, is tagged Harnessing the Maritime and Shipping Sector for Sustainable Growth. Speaking at the unveiling ceremony, the Director General of NIMASA, Dr. Dakuku Peterside, said this year's forecast will be addressing how emerging trends in the global maritime industry would affect the Nigerian maritime sector.
The forecast relied on past trends, data, and different emerging scenarios to predict what the future will look like. In the first edition, we shed light on possible and potential opportunities in the maritime sector consistent with our mandate of promoting indigenous participation in shipping. Today, you will agree with me that those who found time to read the 2018-2019 Maritime Forecast found it informative, reliable, timely, most useful, and comfortable to work with. The purpose was and is still to guide investors and potential investors who are interested in the Nigerian maritime industry.
Speaking further, Dr. Dakuku Peterside noted that the forecast is meant to give direction to investors and stakeholders in the industry in their planning and investment decisions as part of efforts to attract more foreign direct investment to the economy.
The main public bodies regulating the maritime and shipping sector have all keyed into the government strategies to reform the operating environment and improve on her ease of doing business index, which has the potential of attracting more businesses to the maritime industry. The year 2018 offered government opportunities for strategic changes in policies so as to restore growth in the economy, invest in our people, and build a globally competitive economy. The regulators and stakeholders will continue to push for these reforms as our interest remains to develop indigenous capacity in the shipping and maritime sector to ensure a high-level playing field for operators to tap into the vast economic benefits inherent in the shipping sector. And we're happy to project that a 2019-2020 period will be full of hope for investors, and it will be an era of sustainable growth.
On his part, the Chairman Governing Board of NIMASA, retired General Jonathan India Garba, assured stakeholders that the agency will continue in this direction of serving as a compass for stakeholders.
The purpose of Nigeria's maritime industry forecast is to help increase awareness of the investment opportunities that are available in the maritime sector. This is done in order to attract investors into the sector so as to create wealth and job opportunities for our teeming youths and populations. I have no doubt in my mind this report will be of great use for would-be investors in the maritime industry and sector.
The Honorable Minister of Transportation, Right Honorable Rotimi Amechi, whose speech was read by Mrs. Gloria Dear Ayapie, noted that the federal government is committed to providing the enabling environment for foreign direct investment in the maritime sector.
It is worthy to note that the present administration of President Muhammadu Buhari has put in place many reforms in the maritime industry for the benefits of Nigerian citizens and the international operators, among which is the promotion of the blue economy for the safe and sustainable use of the continent's vast sea and ocean resources. The country, through NIMASA, has latched on to this idea by adopting, enacting, and domesticating the concept to enforce a positive turnaround of the economy, beginning from the maritime subsector.
Major plans covered by the forecast are the economic environment, the maritime industry local and global, regulatory framework, and emerging opportunities and challenges.
The Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency NIMASA, in conjunction with Joe Marine Institute of Nautical Studies and Research, organized a 5-day workshop for dock workers, stevedoras, and longshoremen in the Lagos area recently. The workshop, with the theme Occupational Health, Safety, and Container Handling Operations, is in line with the capacity building initiative of the agency and to ensure peace and harmony between the bonded terminal operators and dock workers.
Your experiences at the port, what the challenges that we are facing in doing our job, those are the issues that will be, and how solutions, how to solve some of the challenges that we encounter in the course of doing our work.
The hazards dock workers face while performing their regular duties, such as falls and slips, exposure to chemicals, lifting activities, climatic conditions, and working at heights, amongst others, were highlighted at the workshop.
A lot of things they teach us over there, I believe it will help every one of us in each terminal to improve and to make the work more easier for everybody over there. I think it's a very welcome development, and we really appreciate them.
NIMASA will not just stop at training those dock workers. The agency will go a step further to ensure strict compliance in the day-to-day activities of dock workers.
NIMASA has been given the responsibility, especially Maritime Labour Services, to carry out training, dock workers training, and seafarers training. And right now, for this year, approval has been given for dock workers training. We are training about 350 dock workers on cargo handling operations and occupational health, occupational safety and health.
Our own is to make sure that these people, that is the dock workers, are well protected for any hazards inside the port, either through container fall, through accident, and whatever means. So we're after their lives to be safe in this port, and then we have a seamless operation inside our ports.
Who is contesting the election is the country. It is not NIMASA contesting the election. It is not Ministry of Transportation contesting the election. It is Nigeria that is putting herself forward to be elected to the Council of the IMO and, in any case, other international agencies. Yes, we lost the election by 1 vote. What went wrong? Election of any country is a function of international politics. So the decision whether we will run or not in 2021 will be made by the president of the country.
The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, in partnership with the Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency, NIMASA, commemorates the 2019 World Anti-Corruption Day on Monday, the 9th of December 2019, supported by the National Orientation Agency.
I always say transportation is life, life is transportation. Because as far as transportation is concerned, nothing whatsoever you can do without transportation.
Organizations are like kids. It's all about development. I'm most delighted to see the gathering of all key stakeholders in the transport sector of the economy under one umbrella.
Those were the excerpts from the just concluded annual general meeting of the Chartered Institute of Transport Administration that took place in Abuja. Now, next week, we're going to give you a concise report, detailed about that event. Now, we're also going to delve into more highlights. This week, we told you about the wonderful maritime forecasts. There are other things. There's a wonderful list, and we are going to delve into all of them just to refresh your memories regarding the progress that the maritime industry has made over the year. All right. We thank you enormously for watching. We'll be back next time. But before we go, I'd like to remind you, like we normally do, about the Industry Stakeholders Awards Night. It is an event everybody is waiting with bated breath to find out what's going to happen. There was a galaxy of stars, the last edition, and this one. So thank you for watching. If you want to communicate with us, go to our social media channels and contact us for any information you might have regarding the Nigerian maritime industry. On behalf of our crew at NIMASA this week, I want to thank you for watching. I'll be back next time. Safe journey.